every morning at exactly 7:47 a.m., like a storm cloud that refused to pass. Cheryl Blackstone's gleaming black Cadillac Escalade came roaring around the corner of Meadowbrook Heights and cut straight across my front lawn. 8-inch ruts tore through the earth. Sprinkler heads snapped like dry twigs, and the heirloom roses my late wife Sarah had coaxed from Irish soil were crushed into red paste before the dew had even burned off. She never slowed, never looked, never cared. Once, I ran out waving my arms like a madman. She cracked her tinted window just enough to flash a venomous smile and said, "HOA access, sweetheart. There's nothing you can do." Then the window sealed shut, and she was gone, leaving only diesel fumes drifting over what used to be sacred ground. I filed police reports. I attended HOA meetings armed with photos and timestamps. I paid lawyers, who sent polite letters, and then sent me bills. Nothing stopped her. 47 mornings in a row the same black bees desecrated Sarah's memorial garden, the one she designed with trembling hands, while cancer stole the rest of her future. On the 48th morning, I stopped begging for help and started building. My name is Jake Brennan. For 40 years I designed flight-critical systems for Boeing, things that absolutely could not fail at 40,000 feet. Precision wasn't a hobby, it was the only religion I ever practiced. When Sarah died, that same obsessive engineering turned toward keeping her garden alive. Irrigation schedules calculated to the minute, soil pH balanced like rocket fuel, every bloom a living promise I still intended to keep. Cheryl, on the other hand, was vice president of the HOA, a real estate predator with a vanity plate that read, HOA Prez, and a brother-in-law who wanted my corner lot for a strip mall. She had figured out the perfect scam: make life hell until people sold cheap, then flip the neighborhood for millions. My roses, my granite bench, the Japanese maple we planted the day Sarah finished chemo, none of it mattered to her. They were just obstacles between her and a bigger commission. First, I tried civilized defenses, decorative river stones arranged in perfect geometric borders. She aimed for every single one and ground them to powder. Then came the $800 surveillance system with overlapping fields of view and military-grade timestamps. She slapped me with $200 a day fines for obstructing emergency access, using documents her husband, our HOA attorney, had conveniently drafted. When I dug into the covenants, I found 23 illegal amendments slipped through without the required 67% owner vote. Every fine, every new rule, legally worthless. That was the moment I stopped playing defense. Late at night, with Sarah's garden journal open beside me, her delicate sketches of protective borders that looked suspiciously like artillery positions, I began designing a trebuchet. Not some backyard toy. A real, counterweight-driven machine capable of hurling a 20-pound sphere of Colorado granite 50 yards with surgical accuracy. 2,000 pounds of concrete counterweight, aerospace-grade bearings, laser rangefinder, motion sensors, the works. My neighbor Fred, a retired machinist with hands like bear paws, showed up the first night he heard the welder screaming and never left. Together we turned my garage into a medieval skunk works. Colorado law, it turns out, is surprisingly friendly when you've documented 47 acts of vehicular trespass. Revised Statute 18-1-704.5, the Make My Day law, covers your curtilage, not just the inside of your house. Repeated, deliberate property destruction by a 6,000-pound weapon? Reasonable force is authorized. My attorney, Jennifer Walsh, wrote a 6-page opinion letter that basically read, "Go ahead, just don't miss." We tested at midnight with watermelons and pumpkins until the trajectory was repeatable within 6 inches. Warning signs went up every 10 feet. Active defensive systems. Continued trespass may result in vehicle disablement. Certified letters were sent. Cheryl laughed, organized tours for investors, and drove across my lawn faster than ever, showing off her emergency access shortcut. The final day arrived like the climax of a very long, very patient equation. Cheryl stormed out of an emergency HOA meeting where the entire room learned her empire was built on illegal amendments. Her $2 million closing was slipping away. At 4:37 p.m. her Escalade came screaming toward my corner at 47.3 miles per hour, rage in mechanical form. Motion sensors woke the targeting computer. The counterweight began its 8-foot fall. 2,000 pounds of concrete converted gravitational potential into pure, unstoppable kinetic poetry. The granite boulder left the sling at 58 miles per hour. Flight time, 2.8 seconds. It punched through her windshield in an explosion of safety glass, caved the roof, demolished the engine block, and kept going until the entire front half of a $68,000 luxury SUV looked like God had dropped a piano on it. The Escalade spun, skidded, and died in the exact center of what was left of Sarah's roses, leaking fluids like a slain dragon. Neighbors poured out of houses with phones raised. Someone had already called the fire department. Officer Martinez arrived suspiciously fast, surveyed the wreckage, and almost smiled. Cheryl was extracted screaming about lawsuits and attempted murder. I handed the officer a thick folder, 47 documented violations, certified warnings, Jennifer's legal opinion, and video from 6 angles. Reasonable force, officer. Colorado Statute 18-1-704.5. Happy to answer any questions. Her insurance denied the claim. Damage incurred during criminal trespass. The state attorney general opened investigations into fraud, conflict of interest, and forgery. The HOA board was dissolved in a single chaotic meeting. My corner lot's value jumped 15% overnight. Apparently, trebuchet protected is a selling feature now. Sarah's garden came back stronger than before. I used fragments of that granite boulder as a new border, each chunk a reminder that some things are worth defending with everything you have. The cracked memorial stone was repaired with gold using the Japanese kintsugi method. Broken, yes, but more beautiful for having been tested. The trebuchet still stands in the backyard, classified as kinetic sculpture under state artistic expression statutes. Engineering students take tours. A Veterans Defense Fund raised $25,000 off demonstration weekends. And every morning at sunrise, I sit on Sarah's bench, coffee in hand, watching hummingbirds dart through flowers that finally grow in peace. No one cuts the corner anymore. Physics, patience, and a little medieval persuasion turned out to be the perfect recipe for justice. Cheryl moved away. Rumor says Nebraska. Some nights I swear I can still hear the whisper of a throwing arm slicing the air, a quiet promise that Sarah's garden will protect itself now and forever. If you've got an HOA horror story that needs an engineering solution, drop it in the comments. I read them all. And who knows, next time the problem might call for focused acoustics, or hydraulics, or something delightfully biblical. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't petty. Sometimes it's 20 pounds of mountain granite traveling at 58 miles per hour, delivered with love from a grieving husband who finally kept his promise.